Hello and welcome back to Mariners Rundown. This is Jake from Race the Trident. Thank you for stopping by. If you're listening to this on your morning of, I don't know, Monday, I think that would be the 9th. So, Monday the 9th, thanks for listening and wake up. Okay. I appreciate you for listening here. And it's going to be a little bit of a different episode. It's not going to be a full episode as usual. We are going to do a little Diamondbacks Mariners preview as the Mariners are going to be in Arizona from Monday through Wednesday for a 3 game stretch. And yeah, we're going to go over that. And normally I wouldn't do just an episode just for a preview, but we are today because we have a guest here. As far as all the content stuff goes, definitely probably the closest person I've been to when it comes to all the content stuff since I've brought it up. He is formerly of Diamondbacks on SI and is probably going to be getting some of his own stuff up soon as far as written and potentially audio visual content. We'll see. We're going to be talking to the resident D-backs expert, Aaron Hughes. How are you doing today?
Hey, thanks for having me. Great intro there. I appreciate all the features there.
Of
Thank you for
course.
having me.
Yeah, and Aaron is no stranger to Raise the Trident's channel in general, but this is his first appearance on Mariners Rundown. And like I said, he's the resident D-backs expert because he is also a Mariners fan as well. That I guess that you would say they're your AL team. Is that correct?
I think they're definitely the team that I'm most integrated with outside of the Diamondbacks for sure.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, Aaron has written about the Diamondbacks for a little while now. So if you go follow him, Aaron R. Hughes on X, and you'll see a bunch of Diamondback stuff. So if you're into the Diamondbacks, go check him out. But he's the perfect person to have on when we're previewing this series. And the Mariners and Diamondbacks are kind of an interesting. It's obviously not a rivalry, but like the two teams feel inextricably linked together at all times in the sense of they do really feel like kind of sister teams in the league for
yeah.
some reason, and a lot of that has to do with quite a bit of trades in between each other. So like a lot of times when we talk about Mariners trades, we talk usually about the Tampa Bay Rays, but when it comes to the National League, it really feels like the Diamondbacks are kind of their main trade target and main like partner in trade stuff. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting series. Obviously, we have some former Mariners that are on the Diamondbacks right now, including a Eugenio Suarez. But in general, it kind of going along with this theme of the Mariners and Diamondbacks being very similar. They're in very similar-ish places in the season right now. The Mariners, we're recording this, I guess, by the way, on the evening of Saturday the 7th. So right now, the Mariners are currently playing the Angels as we're recording this. And Julio Rodriguez just got injured, so we don't know what the deal is with that at this
Ugh.
time, which
Yikes.
is rough. D-backs got done playing their series earlier today, I believe. So it said on
No, they've
MLB
won
they're
more.
30. Yeah, they just played the Cincinnati Reds. So right now they're 31 and 33 is what I saw. Mariners are currently 32 and 30. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with the Diamondbacks this year. I mean, they were in the World Series a couple years ago, had a solid season last season, and just barely missed out on the playoffs. And this year it's been a lot different. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so things haven't exactly gotten off to the prettiest start. They were definitely in the mix a lot more earlier in the season, but things have kind of taken a turn, particularly on the pitching side. They've been a victim of a lot of injuries, most notably Corbin Burns going down with what turned out to be needing Tommy John surgery, which he's going to be undergoing next week. They've struggled a lot. They're 6.5 games out of the division as we're speaking right now. They're 5.5 out of the wild card. They most recently got onto a kind of a big slumping streak, entering a series with the Braves, with which they ended up sweeping. But now obviously they lost a kind of pseudo doubleheader against the Reds, which has kind of sent them back down on a skid. Things aren't great but there's a path to getting back out of this. It's just a matter of is their pitching going to facilitate that? And I think that's something that we're going to be discussing a lot here today.
Yep.
So I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah, so Diamondbacks, once like I said, are 31 and 33 right now on the season. They're 4 and 6 in their last 10. The biggest thing has been their pitching. Corbin Burns just went down with Tommy John, and as a team, they're 25th in ERA right now on the pitching side. Which, judging by some of the, when I look at D-back scores, you'd think it's worse. To be fair, they give up a lot of
Mm.
runs, so I thought it was gonna be a little bit worse than 25th, but still, they're just in the cellar of the MLB right now, and it's been tough to see. But with the Mariners, it's kind of been similar-ish. Not as bad on the pitching side. The pitching's just been rough a lot recently. The Mariners are 32 and 30. They're 3 and 7 in their last 10. Once again, this is before the end of Game 2 against the Angels, and a lot of that has been due to the pitching. I would say it's been kind of equal. I feel like with the offense too, but I feel like the pitching has been even more frustrating than the offense in the sense that last year the offense was horrible. And so it almost wasn't too surprising to kind of see them come back down to earth after a really solid March and April. But the pitching has been really a rough watch. It is uh, been not only on the starters, but the bullpen. There's only a couple guys right now out of the Mariners bullpen that you really trust. That would be Gabe Spire, Andres Munoz, and Jackson Kowar has been pitching pretty good since coming back from Tommy John, so that's been nice. But otherwise, I mean, it's just you have three high leverage dudes, and I guess I have to put Matt Brash in there. He's been really solid too. So, but you just don't really know what you're going to get with Kowar in the long term. So hopefully it keeps going, but you never know. And then on the starting pitching side, Brian Wu and Luis Castillo have been your only solid workhorses. Emerson Hancock has had a solid stretch, and I will give him that. And Logan Evans even had a couple good starts when he was with the club. But guys like Bryce Miller have been really rough this year, and I don't know what they're going to do with him as far as in the future. He might be pitching against the Diamondbacks. We'll see. We don't really know exactly who's going to be pitching in Arizona, but Bryce Miller would be slated to start in that, so we'll see how that goes. Logan Gilbert's obviously been gone for most of the year at this point with his injury, and he's going to be doing another rehab assignment, or at least one more game. So he's not going to be in the Arizona series, which originally, if he didn't have another start, he would have been. So we'll be without Gilbert in the desert as well. And then there's just obviously the offense has been starting to, not starting even, I would say, for the last month or so has been 2024 levels of unwatchability. And yeah, but at the same time, it's been a group effort. The pitching for the Mariners and the offense have kind of been working together. It feels like to lose games. It's like literally how Mariners baseball has felt recently. It's either one or the other are just actively like trying to lose the game in some way. And the most recent thing is just, it feels like every little lead that we get, the pitching just gives it up immediately. And it's like there's just no momentum they can have. However, that's done with my Mariners rant there. So when it comes into the context, though, of facing the Diamondbacks, you pretty much have the Diamondbacks who have really rough pitching, really bad pitching right now, but a stellar offense. They're fourth in OPS in the whole league right now for the whole
Fourth in
season.
runs scored too.
Yeah, so they're an incredible offense, whereas the Mariners are, I guess I would more say, are just kind of mid in both pitching and offense. So when you're looking at the Mariners on the schedule, what are you hoping to see from the Diamondbacks in this series?
Well, really what we're hoping to see from the Diamondbacks is kind of a continuation of what we've seen from some of the pitchers. I know how you were talking about Brian Wu and Luis Castillo kind of being your most reliable arms. We've similarly had only a handful of our guys that we've been able to trust when putting them, especially in games that we need to win. Um, Obviously, with Corbin Burns hitting the shelf, things are kind of tricky. We also had another depth option in Christian Mena have to hit the shelf with a shoulder problem now. Um, ahead of this series, I guess we should talk about who's projected to start. For the Diamondbacks, it would line up to be Merrill Kelly, Brandon Pfaadt, and Eduardo Rodriguez, who just came off the injured list, going up against some of the Mariners guys here. It will be interesting and I guess most important to see if Merrill Kelly and can continue his hot streaks and if Brandon Pfaadt can put a stop to what has been easily the worst stretch of his career at this point, coming off his last two starts where he's given up over a dozen runs in not even a full quality starts worth of innings. So it's going to be a big storyline following what these starting pitchers are able to do for both sides. Um, Mostly because the Diamondbacks offense has been so excellent. And because the Mariners offense has kind of, I'd say, turned a corner a little bit coming off last year.
Yeah, and right now, ESPN at least is showing the Mariners' probable pitchers as game one being Emerson Hancock, game two Brian Wu, and game three Bryce Miller. I feel like at least when I'm talking about Hancock start, it's going to be a really good test. He's had several really good starts. He's been on a good stretch in general right now for the Mariners. He has thrown a pretty decent amount of quality starts, a lot more than you would think. And honestly, this year is kind of out to a similar start than last year was. Last year, one of his first starts was I don't remember who it was against, was really bad. The same way he started this year against the Detroit Tigers, didn't even escape the first inning in his first start with before giving up 6 runs. And then after that, he just kept giving you a lot of even if they weren't exactly quality starts, they were good starts. He wasn't giving up a lot of runs, and he was just giving the team the chance to win. At this time, he's currently has 4 quality starts out of I don't know, about like 10 starts in total, which you would obviously expect you would want more from any of your pitchers, but with Emerson Hancock having almost half of his starts be quality starts, I'll take it. He's been a little bit of a skid on that recently. The last two have not been quality starts, but I don't recall any of them being, these big blowout games or anything like that. So I think a lot of the time for him, it's just innings, and that can happen with Hancock because he's going to give up contact. And it'll be interesting to see if the Arizona Diamondbacks offense can get some runs off of them. Brian Wu, I would say kind of same thing. His last start wasn't as good as he's been in general this year, but he's been the Mariners' best pitcher this year. He has 9 quality starts on the season. All but about 3 of his starts have been quality starts, and he's just been the workhorse. And with Brian Wu, it's going to be another good test with Arizona and the offense that it has. And if he can spin a really good outing, that will be really cool to see because we will really need it probably at that point, especially coming off of George Kirby and Emerson Hancock starts right before that, because we just don't know what we're going to get from them. And then to end the series, Bryce Miller, you know, it's hard to talk about Bryce Miller because going into the season, I think a lot of people kind of considered him a dark horse Cy Young candidate, and he's been atrocious is like the best word I can put. He's been really bad this year. He hasn't pitched a single quality start. Granted, you have to put the context behind it that he is apparently hurt. He has, I think they actually did officially label it bone spurs in his elbow. I'm not sure, but he has something in his elbow that will require surgery at some point. It's just a matter of when. And at this point, I just don't know how you keep running him out there in general because he's been bad, straight up bad. Like he'll show some signs here and there in his starts of the Bryce Miller we love, the 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He's painting it up a little bit, and then he'll just like follow it up with the biggest cookie down the middle and give up hard contact. And unfortunately, he's doing that more often than not. So but as far as the Diamondback starters, is there one in particular that you're looking close at or closest at against this Mariners offense that, for the last month and a half or so has been skidding pretty hard?
Really, I would go back to Brandon Pfaadt probably because if the Mariners are able to execute against him, it's only going to continue to that trend of him giving up a lot of runs. Were it not for the recent injuries to Diamondbacks starters, I think there would be a lot more dialogue about the Diamondbacks potentially sending him down even and giving him a stint in Reno to kind of regain his bearings. But at this point, I don't think that's going to be possible. Um, so really, it is going to be to see him settle down. It will be Eduardo Rodriguez's second start since coming off the injured list. In his last one, he was able to go a solid amount of innings, giving up only 2 runs against the Reds. Obviously, they went on to lose that game. That was the big rain delay game where things got really messy. So it will be interesting to see that, but I think a big storyline for both teams also on the pitching front is going to be the bullpen. A big thing that has plagued the Diamondbacks for years now, something that we thought could be better going into this year and especially going into last year, but that has simply not been the case. The Mariners have had bullpen as a strength for a number of years now, but seemingly that bullpen machine magic, whatever you want to call it, around the Jerry Dipoto regime has seemingly wavered a little bit in 2025. And we're seeing a little bit of that magic come down. Um, but I want to hear your take here on what you think is going to be important going into this series, some of the arms that you're going to be paying extra close attention to, and maybe even some storylines on particularly one of those arms that's going to be returning home here in this series.
Okay. Well, I don't know who is exactly returning home that's in our bullpen.
Oh, come on, the Geno trade.
The Geno trade. Oh, who was that? I know it was Ryan Bliss. It
Hmm.
was Canzone, who is in Tacoma right now. And then who was the other person? I out of our bullpen, you'd think I would know the bullpen by now. Who is it? Wasn't Bizardo? Wasn't Vargas, Carlos Vargas. Yeah.
Yeah, Carlos
Yeah.
Vargas.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
think that was the Geno trade,
It was.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So Carlos Vargas came over in the Geno trade, and Carlos Vargas has pitched fairly well for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice to see because he is a guy who has that potential swing and miss that the bullpen just doesn't really have right now outside of Brash and Munoz, I guess, and Inspire to an extent a little bit. As far as the bullpen in general, I think I don't know. Obviously, once again, we're recording this, midway through Game 2 against the Angels. Uh, Andres Munoz hasn't pitched since his two blowups against the Minnesota Twins, so it would be really interesting to see when he's in next how he pitches, because at this point he's had at least like 4 or 5 days of rest, if not more, and I just would like to see him in his next outing, whether that's against the Angels or the Diamondbacks, be just see the Munoz that we saw all the way through until the Minnesota series when he gave up 0 earned runs. I'd really like to see him bounce back a little bit from that. And in general, I think it's just more of a general bullpen thing as far as just the how good the Diamondbacks offense is and seeing how they handle it. Because, if the bullpen and, just the Mariners pitching in general, if it is as effective as it's been in the last, or I guess just mainly a lot of this year, it might be a really rough series for them against the Diamondbacks, especially at home. But we'll see. It's just one of those things where, it feels like they've gotten, they have more guys at this point in the bullpen that I think they trust more now than they did earlier on in the season. They're not, going to Thornton every time in these high leverage innings. Bizardo's pitching fine, but I still just don't see him as a high leverage guy. But you still have Munoz, you still have Spire, you still have Brash. Vargas has been pitching fine, and Kowar, if he can keep it going, he's been pretty effective too. So in general, I think it's not even just a bullpen thing. It's just a general Mariners pitching thing. You have a really big test ahead of you with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So be interesting to see what the score totals are, because that's the other thing, right? Is if how many runs do we give up for y'all? How is this offense going to do against your pitching? Even though especially the bullpen has been rough. I feel like this Mariners lineup could go against Kyle Gibson right now and have like 6 Ks and only get like one earned run off of them in 6 innings. Like it's just, it feels like you never know what's going to happen. But the last thing I'll say about the preview, and with the trade deadline coming up in the next couple months, and we're kind of getting to the point where people are starting to talk about it and what's going to happen. uh, a lot of people, at least in the Mariners space, have been talking about the Diamondbacks in the sense of trade deadline acquisitions and what can, especially with the Diamondbacks, how do they fit with the Mariners? Will the Diamondbacks be sellers by then? We don't necessarily know. So, what is your take as far as will the Diamondbacks potentially be sellers? Do you think that there are any pieces where, even if they're not sellers, where there might be a mutual beneficial type trade where, you know, it's not necessarily the Diamondbacks selling or the Mariners selling. They're both in it to win it, and something that could go between them that might work well.
When it comes to the Diamondbacks being sellers, really at this point we're not exactly sure how extreme that situation is going to end up. Um, it's difficult to predict. Still being about a month or two out from the deadline at this point. But things are getting to the point where if they don't turn things around quick, particularly with the pitching, that we're going to be starting to talk about some of these pieces and where they might be ending up. The Diamondbacks have a wealth of rentals, and when I say a wealth, I mean there is a ton of potential names that could yield a huge return for them here at the end of July. And definitely some that would line up pretty well with the Mariners. Let's just go over the names here really quick. Um, Obviously, at the top of the rotation, you have Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, who are big names who will be able to fetch a lot in return. Maybe it's not the best fit with Seattle, seeing as you guys do have some rotation arms, especially ones that are going to be coming back with Logan Gilbert here in the next couple days, week, etc. Um, but still worth mentioning. Continuing on the pitching side of things, Shelby Miller has been a revelation for the Diamondbacks this year. He's pitched incredibly well, has worked as a sort of interim closer for the team, while Justin Martinez was on the shelf, who returned pretty recently, as well as AJ Puck, who's been on the injured list for a while. Both of those guys obviously have some extra control and won't be going anywhere, but Shelby Miller will be a free agent at the end of this season and could be interesting to some teams. Also, not sure where the Mariners fit on that. Jalen Beeks, another one of those names, very good left-handed reliever. Has seen some leverage innings this season and has pitched very well. Um, and finally, Kendall Graveman, familiar name for you Mariners fans out there. A tricky legacy when it comes to his name, but definitely another at least solid piece there. And now when we go to the offensive side of things, that's where I think things become a lot more interesting to the Mariners, as there's a couple names there that definitely stand out. First and foremost, former Mariner Eugenio Suarez is a free agent at the end of this season. The Diamondbacks picked up the club option that was available at the end of last year after he was dealt to Arizona from the Mariners, as we kind of touched on earlier. Gino's having a great year from on the power side of things. Definitely a little lacking on the average and on base side there, but I think that's just part of his game at this point.
Yeah.
Um, Doing a great job. His defense has slowed down a little bit, as it sometimes does with players' age, but he's having a good year. He's still a very, very good player. The strikeouts are there, but he's walking. and definitely somebody that the Mariners could circle back on. Another name here that was connected a lot more in the offseason is Josh Naylor, who's having an excellent year. He's showing a little less power than he was previously with Cleveland, but he's definitely getting on more. He's hitting for average. His defense has been a little better. He's definitely turned things around a lot more. He's dealing with some nagging injuries right now that have kept him out of the lineup the last 2 days. But it's definitely something that would be an excellent fit for the Mariners, who have been running Rowdy Tellez out there right now, who's been fine, but I definitely wager to say that Josh Naylor would be an improvement there. Then finally, last rental here on the list, Randall Grichuk, who is signed to a 1 year deal with a mutual option, which virtually never gets picked up. Um, he's been great. He's known for being able to hit left-handers at an all-star level. He doesn't face many right-handers, but he can hit them very well as well. He just doesn't get the opportunities with some of the other offensive pieces in Arizona. Grichuk is an outfielder. He plays a fine outfield. He can go out there. He can field for you. He can run for you. And I'm not exactly sure where that fits in the Mariners puzzle, but while we're going over the names, it's definitely important to mention that he is another offensive option out there. The Diamondbacks aren't completely out of the picture as we speak here. The Diamondbacks could very well work their way in. They have an easier schedule than one might think coming up. They've already faced a lot of their divisional and National League rivals and are now going to be facing a little bit of an easier schedule going into July and the up to the deadline. Um, but it's definitely a situation to monitor, and the Mariners are one of the teams that will be connected to them going into the deadline, regardless or not if they turn things around here.
Yeah, and as far as the Mariners go, I mean, the pretty obvious needs are any of your quarter infield slots as well as some bullpen help. You could probably put some starters in there as well. However, you know, I guess the big question is what is Logan Gilbert going to look like when he gets back? Is he going to become that all-star level, potentially Cy Young finalist level of effectiveness? We don't really know. He's had his outings in Tacoma have been not great, and I know you can't fully rely on those rehab assignments. In the same way you can't really rely on spring training stats, right? But still, the other things that worry me with him are, those big velo drops from the first inning to the fourth inning, where he's going from 96 to 93, like stuff like that just worries me. So, who knows what that's going to look like when he's back? And then it's just a matter of like, is Emerson Hancock and is Logan Evans? Because I don't see Bryce Miller ending the year not on the injured list, getting that surgery probably. If he doesn't, like that would be, let's say Bryce Miller has some big resurgence, awesome, would love it, but I feel like that's kind of inevitable at this point. I'd rather that he just gets it over with, but at the end of the day, it's not my decision. So it's just a matter of like, can Hancock and Evans finish the year for you? Uh, who knows? We'll see. So they could be in, the market for a starting pitcher as well. However, I feel like they have to focus on those corner infield slots as well as the bullpen first before they can really go and try to get a starting pitcher. So yeah, it'll be very interesting. I know a lot of people have mentioned Josh Naylor specifically when they've been talking about trades with the D-backs, just because first base is a big need. He'd probably still keep Tellez. He'd probably drop Solano in his slot, and keep Tellez for like kind of just a DH option off the bench. But regardless, I think there's also Ryan O'Hearn with the Orioles that might be a better fit than Naylor, and probably someone they'd prefer. He's going to be a little bit cheaper than Naylor is, and is a bit younger than Naylor. So I think those factors maybe make O'Hearn a better option in general, but we'll see. And as far as Eugenio Suarez, which I think is the most interesting one, I think I would just be shocked if they did that, in the sense of, it almost feels like I don't know if it would be seen this way, but I wonder if that would be kind of like a hey, you done effed up by letting him go type thing. And I just
Hmm.
don't know if Jerry would do that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of
Uh,
the hard part is
it definitely complicates things.
well, and that's the thing is Gino, his power might be really good in Arizona. Is it going to be fine in Seattle? Because that last year when we get, let him go, it was because he was just hitting warning track flyouts, right? He wasn't able to get it over the fence. Would he be able to in Seattle on a second stint? Who knows? Maybe. But in general, I guess to end this out, what is your prediction for this series?
I am, I hate to seem like a homer here, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but I do think that the Diamondbacks are going to turn things around a little bit more here. They're already coming off a series loss against the Reds. They did sweep the Braves, but it does sort of feel like the momentum and frustration in that clubhouse is building up a little bit here, and it does just feel like there's about to be a pushback. And the Mariners do match up kind of well to have that happen. When it comes to the offense, the Diamondbacks are known for their late inning comebacks, particularly. Um, Munoz is coming off some rocky outings against the Twins. The Diamondbacks are known for being closer killers, as they've gotten to a number of guys like Tanner Scott, Raisel Iglesias, whoever the Brewers are running out there right now. Uh, and it's definitely going to be something to watch. But it's going to be an exciting series. I'll be out there for all three games, I anticipate. And it'll be interesting to see some of these old guys and guys who are just friendly with one another get back on the same field. A fan base that is so interlinked at this point that we saw during the Diamondbacks World Series run, a lot of Mariners fans kind of adopt the Diamondbacks, seeing a lot of that come back. I know there's a lot of friendly faces and names in the community. It's always exciting when these two teams play each other. Now that it happens every year, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, as far as my prediction goes, I think we're gonna lose the series to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that's really weird for me to say. I'm a Mariners content creator, right? Like I should be saying like yes, like we'll beat them or whatever. We'll beat every team. Just judging by the way they've played, I think the D-backs are maybe the worst matchup for the Mariners right now. Obviously, the D-backs pitching has been not good, especially the bullpen. So there is that bit of hope there. It's just I think for me, I feel like the Diamondbacks offense with the Mariners and the way they're pitching right now is going to feast too much to the point where it's going to be tough to overcome. So I just for that reason, I don't really foresee us winning this series. Obviously, it'd be awesome if we did, but I just, man, I just think the Diamondbacks offense is, I think, just too much of a juggernaut. Where, because right now I'm watching this Angels series, right? The Angels offense isn't nearly as good as the Diamondbacks, by not even close. And these Mariners pitchers can't hold a lead against them. Why would I think they're gonna, do that against a top five offense in baseball? It just it's hard for me to feel that way, but hopefully I'm wrong. I'll take it if I'm wrong, and regardless, hopefully it'll be a good series. Hopefully everyone stays healthy and it's just a good time just to watch some baseball. So yep, that's gonna be it for
Some
this. Obviously,
Wait, before
go
we
ahead.
go, some last minute notes here.
Uh-huh.
I think it is relevant to note, obviously I think you mentioned it at the top of the show that Julio got hit by a line drive from Randy Arozarena and had to come out of the game. So that's a situation that obviously we don't
Hmm.
know what it's going to look like. Similar situation here with Gabriel Moreno, who was hit on the hand. X-rays came back negative up here in Cincinnati, but it'll be interesting to follow how that goes. We don't know how it's going to turn out. You know, the Mariners series is only a couple days away. Um,
Mm.
some other guys, you know, Josh Naylor, Corbin Carroll have been kind of, you know, banged up a little bit, as well as some of the pitchers in Christian Mena going on the injured list. Things are a little short for the Diamondbacks. Logan Gilbert won't be pitching in this series. So just a couple quick injury notes before we hit the road here.
Yeah. So at the time of this recording, we don't know what the outlook is on Julio Rodriguez. I would imagine we'll get that in the morning of Sunday, the 8th, and we're recording this the evening of the 7th. So that'll certainly play into it too. All I'm hoping is it's just like a contusion day to day type thing. And in that case, that would be best case scenario. But if it's an IL stint, man, it's going to be my prediction is going to be even more emphatic that we're going to lose this series because at that point it's Leody Taveras is our starting center fielder. So, which I mean he's come up in some clutch situations, but overall he has not been very good at the plate. So rough times. But Aaron, I appreciate you being a part of this, and go ahead and plug whatever you would like to plug in this scenario.
Anytime, man. You know, I always love coming on this show. I'm surprised I haven't gone on a Mariners rundown yet,
It's so
but seems
new.
like
It's like there's like
this is a
11
great time to
episodes.
do it. Right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, I always love coming on your show. I appreciate you having me. When it comes to my socials, Aaron R. Hughes on Twitter. That's gonna be my kind of my main haunt here right now. I am going to be working on a couple projects. You might see me around a little bit here in the spaces coming up. Maybe not just Diamondback centered, but you know, we'll get to that when we get to that. And you know, as always, appreciate all you guys listening. Appreciate you for having me. Go Snakes, go D-backs, go Mariners.
Yeah, come on. You have to. All right. Well, that's it for us today. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. It helps me out a lot. You like the video and comment down below as well. And if you're listening on audio platforms, do the rating system. It helps me as well. And you can, I guess, share the episode. Who cares? Yeah, share it with your grandma. Maybe they will listen to it, and whatever. That'd be cool. But that's it. Thanks. Bye.